Hello, this is Cody Askins with Secure Agent Mentor. We've got a brand new podcast for you that we're going to record a series of videos every single week. This podcast is it's going to be called Think Outside the Box. When you're in sales, when you're in the insurance business, it doesn't matter what you're in life. You've got to be able to think outside the box. There's a box, which is where everyone else is. You need to be outside of it. And you've got to be extremely creative to be successful. And this is going to be about specific creative prospecting ideas. And we're going to give you a specific creative prospecting idea every single week. Again, this is Cody Askins from SecureAgentMentor.com. If you haven't been over our website, you need to go over and check it out. We've got some of the hottest final expense life insurance leads in the industry. We've got different training programs. You're able to actually join our team. We've got podcasts. We've got live events. We've got a live event called The Main Event every Monday at 3 o'clock. It's live on Facebook and YouTube. So be sure to check all of those things out. A lot of it's free, so you might as well use it. Again, this is Think Outside the Box, Episode 1. The title of this episode is going to be about college telemarketers. Again, college telemarketers. And the reason why I wanted this to be my first episode, and the reason I wanted to start off with this specific title first for this specific episode of this series, is because this is exactly how I made $117,000 in the first 8 months of my career in the insurance business. I was 19 years old. I was in college. I was playing basketball, and I had to figure out, how do I make $100,000 while I'm taking 21 credit hours a semester, while I'm playing basketball, and while I'm a full-time insurance agent, which is exactly why I came up with something creative. And to kind of set the story up, I first figured out that, hey, I need to make $100,000, which was my goal. To make $100,000, I was going to be 19, 20 years old, 20 for the second half of the year. To make $100,000, I've got to get it, and I'd done the math. I was a captive agent. I wasn't getting a huge commission level, actually quite small, 35%. And so I figured out, okay, for the math to work, and for me to make $100,000, I've got to kind of back this down. So I figured out, off of my goal, what my average sale was, what my average closing ratio would be, because I had no sales experience, no insurance experience. I was brand new to the business. And so I did all those things, and I figured out that I needed to run 10 appointments every single week. And that if I got in front of and physically saw 10 people every single week, and when I got in front of them, I would warm up, fact find. I didn't know this at the time, but I actually had a process. I didn't know that there was a full-blown process at first. I slowly learned what my process was. But that if I would warm up, fact find, present, and close to 10 people every single week, then I would be successful, which is exactly what I did. So I had to figure out, okay, how do I get in front of those 10 people every single week? If I can get in front of 10 people, hey, I'm going to make $100,000. Okay, well, easier said than done, right? So how do we get in front of 10 people? I figured out that I would bring over college students from my local university. I would give them a script, a cold call list of names, which were between the ages of 50 and 85 that had incomes of under 60K, and I would give them a telephone. And they would call about the new life insurance product, new state-regulated life insurance program, whatever it was back then, whatever the exact script was. And they would actually walk through this script. I would order pizza for everyone. We would do this every Monday night from about 5 o'clock till about 8 o'clock. Sometimes it was 5:30. Sometimes we would go till 9. Sometimes we'd go till 8:45. It was always for at least 2 to 3 hours. And it was every Monday night, just like clockwork. And so again, they would be in my office there, and we had a phone bank along the wall, or cubicles, either way, and I would throw them in the phone bank, and I would have anywhere from 3 to 5 college students, or college telemarketers, if you will, every single Monday night. I would buy pizza, I would give them cash for what they did. If they set an appointment for the first 2, I would give them $10 each, and for their third appointment and every appointment after, I would give them $20 each. So if they set 3 appointments, they would walk out of there with 10, 10, and 20, which is $40. So they walk out of there with $40 cash in 2 or 3 hours. I had some students that would walk out of there with $90 sometimes because I would also give an extra 20 to the person that set the most. I would also throw random gift cards out. I would give Subway gift cards. I would give iTunes gift cards just randomly to the persons that did well. If we were in a little bit of a lull, they didn't set appointments for 15, 20, 30 minutes, I would obviously motivate them and incentivize them with some gift cards. And I would walk around motivating, yelling, getting these college students pumped up. And it was a mix of females and males, boys and girls. And I would walk out of that Monday night with 8, 10, 12, 15, sometimes as many as 20 appointments set every single week. Now, yes, because they were cold calls, and yes, because it was a college telemarketer that didn't really know what they were doing, some of the appointments would probably close to anywhere from a third to a half of the appointments would stand me up, would change their mind, would cancel, would port you, as they say with one of the career carriers. And so when those things would happen, when they would call back and cancel, they would no-show, they would stand me up, it was fine because I had enough quantity of appointments to make up for the ones that didn't show up. So if we set 15 and I was able to run 7 or 8 of those, I was tickled to death because I didn't have to physically grind on the phones to fill my week. Now, I would still also work leads, door knock, cold call, and work my warm market. So I had several different avenues working. But this specific avenue for college telemarketers was a creative way for me to get in front of a lot of people every single week. And for me to be successful, I knew it. I had to get in front of a lot of people every single week. I had to get creative and take tons of action. Well, this was my way of getting creative, thinking outside the box, and making it happen, was by using college telemarketers. I came up with the idea because, again, I knew I needed to meet my goal or hit my goal. So I said, okay, we need to try this because if I can get a dozen appointments out of this and spend $100, couple $100, whatever, it's more than worth it because I would always run at least 10 appointments. I would always submit at least a couple $1,000s of commission. I would sell at least half or more of the appointments every single week. It was something that worked really well for me. And again, to be successful in the insurance business, you've got to think outside the box. Yes, you can do things that are normal. Yes, you can do things that other people are saying, hey, do this, do that. It's worked for me. It's worked for other people. But you still need the little things that work for you. And I've done dozens of different creative things that other agents wouldn't do, weren't creative enough to think about doing, or just weren't willing enough to actually take the action to do it. Because a lot of it, when you're thinking outside the box, a lot of it can be a little more difficult. It can be hard. But when you're in the insurance business, you've got to set goals and you got to get creative. So this was my way of thinking outside the box, which is why I wanted to start off this first episode 1 of Thinking Outside the Box, which is about college telemarketers and the specific way that I saw always ran 10 appointments every single week for 8 consecutive months. By doing that, I made $117,000. Now, if I would have been an independent insurance agent and not have been captive and known that I could get double, triple the actual commission level, I would have made $200,000-$300,000 that first year. But I learned by being captive. It was actually tougher, so it's easier for me to succeed now because it was tougher to get in front of people. I didn't get a ton of help. I didn't know what to do. But again, I had to think outside the box. I had to do something creative, which is why I used the college telemarketers. And we've got several more creative ideas that we're going to come out with every single week. I'm going to personally record these on Wednesdays, and you'll probably get them released on Thursday, on the very next day. I record these every Wednesday afternoon. Again, this is going to be Think Outside the Box. And this is episode 1 about college telemarketers. Again, go to our website, secureagentmentor.com. Check out our leads, check out our training programs, check out our live events that we do. We do a live show every Monday at 3 o'clock called The Main Event. If you're not thinking outside the box, then you need to start thinking outside the box. Again, this is Cody Askins with Secure Agent Mentor and secureagentmentor.com. Until next time, which will be another episode about creative prospecting ideas. Thanks for listening to the first episode, College Telemarketers, of the podcast, Think Outside the Box. Have an incredible week. Look forward to talking to you and allowing you to listen next week. Thank you, guys.